Hi, so this is just to respond to the questions that you sent me about the complaint that BeLife Lab filed against Min Heejin. And you should be seeing that on your screen right now. This is a direct lift from Sumpi. They translated the Korean BeLife statement to English. So that's what you should be seeing on your screen right now. And there seems to be two major aspects of it. Number one is their complaint against Min Heejin for obstruction of business and defamation. And then the other is that they seem to be going after people that are committing slander or libel against it. Now, the first question that I got, do they actually have a strong case against Min Heejin? So the case is defamation. Yes, they have a strong case. Now, before I proceed, let me do a disclaimer. I am not a lawyer. So consider this a part of an initial research, but definitely not a legal advice. I am not an authority on this. Everything that I'm going to say is just based on my experience because I've filed IPs of my own, copyrights. I've helped people in the entertainment industry. I do work in the entertainment industry. And of course, I do my own research, but definitely not a comprehensive response to this question. This is just a part of an initial research. Okay, so, and then the other aspect is that we don't know everything, right? What we actually know is what's being released by the media, and who knows what it is that they are filtering. All right, now, the defamation case, I did a separate video on that, which should be in the description box. Now, there are two types of defamation: slander, which is spoken, and then libel, which is written. But there are four elements, major elements. It has to be identifiable. Whoever the target is has to be identifiable. That is, yes, we know who it is that she's targeting: BeLift Lab and Source Music. And then it has to be published. In this case, not a problem, but she actually said it in public, and then she also wrote it in the formal complaint that she filed against BeLift on Hybe. The third one is harm. I think that's pretty easy to prove if they can prove that their business is being disturbed and that there is emotional distress that's being caused against their employees and of course their artists. Then they will be able to prove that. Fault is that one or both. She did something she shouldn't have done, or she didn't do something she should have done. So, for example, she should have done her research before she accused people of plagiarizing. If she didn't, then that's fault because she didn't do something she should have done. It could be the other way. She did something she should not have done. So, for example, if she entered a room she shouldn't have been in, that's fault because she did something she shouldn't have done. Okay. So, I think those four are pretty locked. They can prove that. The bigger issue is, what if she can actually prove that she is the owner of all the things that she's accusing BeLife Lab of copying? Let's set that aside for a minute. I will answer that question, but let's set that aside for a minute. And let's talk about plagiarism. A plagiarism accusation may only be formally filed by someone who owns the intellectual property. So if I see John Smith plagiarizing Michael Jackson, I can only say it like, oh, he's plagiarizing Michael Jackson, but there's nothing I can do about it because I don't own the intellectual property. I don't own that image. I don't own that dance steps or that song. The only person that can formally file a complaint for plagiarism or sue somebody for plagiarism is the owner of the intellectual property or the representative. So lawyer, agent, estate in case of Michael Jackson because he has passed. If you do not own what is being plagiarized, that's none of your business, basically. All right. So everything that she has accused BeLife Lab of copying, it has already been proven that she does not own any of it. Someone has already done those dance steps or dance moves. Those hairstyle has been around since time immemorial. Those marketing strategies have been around since time immemorial. So she does not have a right over it. We're just talking about legal terms, okay? Now let's just assume for some miracle she actually is able to prove that she's the intellectual property owner of all of those things. The truth does not always exonerate you from defamation. If the person, if I can, for example, if BeLife Lab can prove that she has malicious intent for doing that, she can still be liable for defamation. Okay, so if BeLife Lab is able to prove that, oh, she did it because she wants to take us down or take our artists down or because of revenge or whatever, she can still be liable for defamation. Truth is not always an excuse. Usually, libelous or slander statements, those are usually false, but the truth won't always exonerate you from it. Next question, can the girl group Jeans file a case of plagiarism against ADOR? They can. The question is whether or not they're going to win the case. There are several things that they need to consider. Number one is that, for example, are they willing to spend the money and the time to pursue this case? It's very, very expensive to hire a lawyer, establish the case. It's going to take a lot of their time. Are they willing to go through that? And let's just say, yeah, they're willing to go through that. What are the chances of them winning? At this stage, this is not a legal advice, okay? Remember my disclaimer. But from where I am, the strongest case that they have is the name. Jeans and New Jeans. If they can establish that ADOR is already aware of their existence and that there are a lot of similarities between their music videos and stuff, maybe they have a chance. But New Jeans and Jeans are still two different names. So even if you're willing to go through all the trouble, you don't know if you're going to win. If you do, then yeah, maybe then you can get royalty from them, but very slim chance. Now, can they file a case? Can they file a plagiarism case on their styling? Because there's a lot of similar styling when it comes to clothing and hairstyle. No, you cannot copyright for example, if you created a silhouette or a different kind of fashion design, you can't copyright that. You can copyright fabric patterns or graphic design on the shirt or on the clothing. You can copyright the brand name, but you cannot copyright the silhouette or the actual design or the actual pattern. You can't do that. In terms of hairstyle, it's the same thing. You can't copyright the hairstyle. You can copyright the photograph of a hairstyle. But not the hairstyle itself. So they don't really have a case. Now, for others for musicians like composers and other singers whose songs were swiped by ADOR, they can file a case on that. But remember, I just did a video on choreography, why it's very difficult to copyright specific dance moves. So watch that video. But it's almost the same thing for songs. Like if it's very hard, there are certain things that must be fulfilled if you want to, for you to be able to establish that somebody actually plagiarized your songs. So that's for that question. Next question, does Source Music or Big Hit have a case against her? Okay, remember my disclaimer, not a lawyer, okay? So this is just based on my own assessment. Definitely no degree in law, not a JD at all. So I think if at all they have a very weak case because she has not really said anything materially harmful, or she has not accused Source Music or Big Hit for that matter of anything that can cause them harm. So for BeLift, she actually said, you're plagiarizing me, you're copying me. So that's an accusation. But for Source Music and for Bang Chiyuk, she just said that because they're debuting someone else, it's causing me distress. So it's more her reacting to an action that they did, but she isn't accusing them of a specific crime. So that, or anything that can defame them for that matter, so that is a weak case, and that could probably be the reason they haven't really filed a case against her. Now, I know that we're upset because their fans, the fans of Min Heejin and the fans of some of them, not all of them, some of them are attacking Lesser of Him and even BTS. But they can't directly blame her for it because it's not like she said anything that could directly trigger them into attacking Lesser of Him or Source Music or BTS or Big Hit. Unless they can prove that all of these gossip magazines, all of these gossip websites are being paid by whoever, then maybe they can file a case. But until then, they cannot blame her for the action of these people that are harassing them online. Now, I may be missing some things. Maybe you have an opinion, let me know. But from where I am, I can't, based on my memory of her press conference and the succeeding interviews that she did, or even in the statements that she released, I don't remember her specifically accusing Source Music of anything specifically harmful. Maybe my memory is failing me. If there is, let me know. Leave them in the comment section. Always remember, not a lawyer. Okay, I will end it here for YouTube. There are two more things that I will be saying on Patreon, specifically about a possible case. I think a stronger case that Big Hit or Hybe can file against Min Heejin, but that will be for Patreon. So for YouTube, I'll end it here for now. Thank you very much for trusting me, for asking for my opinion. Even that, I feel very, very flattered, and I hope that I'm adding value. Please, if you have any requests, if you have any feedback or reaction, leave them in the comment section below. You can always say what you want to say. Just please make sure that you do it respectfully. Also follow me on Twitter or X, and also on my Patreon and Instagram. I'll be, hopefully by next week, I will be sharing some of the personal projects that I'm doing that I hope will excite you. Thank you so much, and until next time.